Hi there, crafty friends. It's Amy from thecrazycraftlady.com. I am currently sitting on my brand new storage bench in our upstairs hallway that I just built. I'm so excited to share this tutorial with you guys. It's like actually not even like a tutorial. It's so easy. I'm just going to share a few pictures and walk you through how I measured everything out and put this together. So like I said, this is for storage. I've got a couple pillows on here because my kids like to read up here in the evenings before bedtime. But if you lift up this, it's just 3/4 inch plywood. We've got in here all of our extra linens, towels, pillows, our air mattress, basically all the extras and anything we would ever need to use if we had company over, which is a huge lifesaver because we live in a small 1940s post-war house. Okay, so I'm going to take a minute to talk a little bit about this house because I know people are going to say, okay, Amy, I don't get it. You're calling this a window bench, but there's very clearly no window here. Okay. We live in Minnesota. This is a 1940s post-war Cape Cod style house. Every other house in town, I swear, has one dormer window facing the front yard. So this is our roof line. This wall faces our front yard. For whatever reason, we don't have a window here. I don't know if it was a budget thing when they built or what, but our house is a little bit odd in the fact that when they dormered out the back half of our house, normally a lot of these houses just have like a big master suite upstairs, maybe 2 bedrooms. We have 3, boom, 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 in a row along the back side of the house facing the backyard. Because they crammed 3 bedrooms up here, none of the bedrooms have closets. So in this hallway, on this side where I'm sitting, we have 3 sliding door closets, one for each bedroom. That makes it a legal bedroom. And as such, we have this gap between between 2 of the closets, which I think in theory should have been like a dormer window nook. That's pretty typical for these 1940s houses. For whatever reason, we don't have the window, but I wanted to make a reading nook with a bench just the same for my kids to enjoy. They love sitting here before bed and reading books. It's super cozy. Full disclosure, I am not a carpenter. I have no formal training. I am just a homeowner on a budget, you guys. I'm just going to show you what worked for me. I'm not making any guarantees or promises about what's going to work in your house, but this was a super simple project. I used 3/4 inch plywood, 2x4s to build the frame, and this paneling down here is actually just leftover beadboard paneling from a previous project. So I'm going to walk you through, show you how I did that, and then after that I'm going to post another video showing how I installed this lighting, because I am not an electrician and this is an exterior wall. So I actually installed lighting with no hard wiring required. So stay tuned, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button. Let's get making. Okay, so here's a quick before picture of our hallway and our little nook that we used to have a bookshelf in, but it was very cluttered and not a good use of space. So I cleared everything out, we repainted the walls, and we replaced the baseboards at the same time. So here's my trick for replacing baseboards, especially that have been painted over and over several times. I score along the edge between the wall and the baseboard, and then I use my handy trim puller. I'll leave an affiliate link down on the bottom to it. This is seriously, you guys, the biggest lifesaver when removing trim. You're able to pull trim off the wall without doing damage to the wall behind it. I love it. It makes things so much easier. So you just score with a razor blade to cut the paint and then pop it off with your trim puller. So here is my nook all ready to go. So now it's time to measure everything. Because we live in an old house, nothing is square. So even when I measured wall to wall, there was a 1/2 inch difference between the back of the nook and the front of the nook, which kind of impacted how I built out my frame. So the first thing I did is I built the base of my frame out of 2x4s. It was a super simple, just like rectangle, nothing fancy, but because I had that 1/2 inch difference, it's not a perfect rectangle and there aren't perfect 90-degree angles. I built my frame to match the nook. So my backboard is 52 inches long and my front board is 52.5 inches long. It's just how it worked out in our old house with all of its character and glory. So once I made sure that fit perfectly, so there it is. My total depth is 21 inches. My total width is 52 at the back, 52.5 at the front. And then I added the top half of my frame to it once I knew the bottom half would fit perfectly. So I added the side supports and then the top as well. Just out of 2x4s, I used 4-inch construction screws, nothing fancy or expensive. So here's my total height, 20 inches and a quarter. The reason why I did that is because I wanted a total bench height of 21 inches, and my plywood is 3/4 inch thick. So total height of my bench was 21 inches. So here are my final dimensions breakdown. I have a 21-inch depth and a 21-inch height. So no matter how wide your gap or nook is that you're working with, I like the 21 by 21. I think it's a good height for both adults and kids to sit on. 21-inch depth. It's deep enough that you can sit on it and curl up comfortably, but not too deep or cumbersome, and it doesn't result in too heavy of a lid or too deep of a lid that's difficult for the kids to lift up. So now it was time to build my lid. I just went to Home Depot and I bought plywood, which y'all, how did plywood get so expensive? Holy moly. So I bought this huge sheet, but I had stuff left over for other projects. Like I said, 3/4 inch. Because I bought a less expensive plywood, it had one good side and one not so good side. So I made that be the bottom of my lid, and I just had to add a little bit of wood filler to clean that up in that crack there, but no big deal. So I just cut my bench lid out of plywood. Now, this is not a perfect rectangle. My lid is kind of off kilter because, like I said, I have that 1/2 inch difference, the 52-inch length in the back and the 52.5-inch length in the front. So I just kind of had to match that up. The point is to match the nook that you're working with and not worry about making perfect corners on everything. And then instead of plywood, I just added leftover beadboard to the front panel, which was left over from another project. So that cost me literally nothing. By just putting the plywood and beadboard on the top and the front, you're saving yourself a lot of supplies and a lot of money by building a full bench with sides and a bottom, which is really unnecessary in a space like a dormer, window, nook, or something like that. So then once I knew that my lid fit perfectly, I cut a 1.5 inch on the side and a 2-inch gap on the back, which allowed my lid to lift up and down without rubbing against my wall. So I just used my circular saw and I cut that length along the side and along the back. And then all I had to do is paint and then add my piano hinge along the back. So you'll see there my piano hinge is along the back, and then I have that gap of plywood on either side, so then I can lift the bench lid up and down with ease and store anything that we want in there. In my case, we've got blankets and pillows and an air mattress. So there you have it. Next up, I'm going to post a video about how I did that lighting, but here is my finished hallway bench. We absolutely love it. The kids love curling up and sitting there and reading, or sitting there when they put their socks on in the morning. It's super cozy. Here's one final before and after. I hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, happy making.